Hi, welcome back to the channel. I recently started work on another GL racing car, the GLA V2. It was a holiday build, so I didn't have many tools with me, but let's see how I got on. While I was away, I picked up another body, a GL Racing Porsche 911 GT3. I might use this body instead. This is the GL Racing GLA V2. So here's pretty much everything you get in the basic kit. Some carbon parts, parts for the diff, servo saver, battery retention, various suspension parts. This set also came with a servo and an ESC. I might upgrade the servo at some stage. From previous experience, has a tendency to bind in the GLA V2. So what other items do you need to build this car? Well, you need a suitable body. I'm thinking of using this one. It's a four-wheel drive, so you need four-wheel drive wheels. I've got these, they're GL Racing wheels, and I've pre-painted them to match the car. You get wheel nuts, but I'm using these ones to match the wheels. You need a receiver and a controller, a motor. I'm using a 35 kV PN racing motor. The kit has 4 bearing sizes: C1, C2, there's 12 of these, C3 and C4, 4 of those. Here are some of the parts needed to build the diff. The other parts are all bagged together, and the rubber O-rings. Here are all the parts to build the diff. Assembling the drive shaft. Most of the plastic parts come in this bag with the gears. The parts you need have these half moon cutouts on either end. If you're following the GL Racing instructions provided, they have a misprint. The bearing to go on the shaft here is actually the C1 bearing, the very small one, rather than a C2. For this assembly, you need the round cutout. This fits into it. C2 bearing. There are two bags of these parts. They're not exactly the same. So first we're going to use this one with the smaller of these pieces. This is part A1, A9 and A10. And we're using some of these smaller rods to attach them. I'll put a little bit of grease in here. And now part A2 from the same bag, and part A11 and 12. And these will be secured at the larger of the rods. Next we'll be using some of the small 1.2x4 PB screws. They fit into these little holes and they allow for some height adjustability. So let's fit them. So here the tiny screws are in, and adjusting them in or out allows adjustment of the ride height. So I had them flat at the moment, but I may change this later. And now for the next stage, we have two parts, A15 and A14. They're marked left and right. Two parts A17. We need 4 of these small ball joints. 2 1.2 by 16 bars and 2 1.5 by 10s. And then we need 4 bearings. These are the 3x6x2 and 2 universal shafts. So the bearings just pop in. One each side. I'll put some grease on the pins before fitting them. Make sure you're fitting the correct pins. There are two 16mm pin sizes, but one is 1.2 and one is 1.5mm. So be sure you're using the correct pins at the various stages. And we fit the small ball ends on here. And there is a spare. And now we fit the 3mm ball screws. And the universal shaft just slides in. I'll put a bit of grease on that as well. For the next step, I use two M2x4 PB screws and part A6 along with part A16. These small plastic balls will fit into the sockets. So before I start, I'll put a little bit of grease in the sockets. First one is the one marked L. And then R. And these will be secured with the M2x4 PBs. If you liked the video, don't forget to support the channel by hitting that subscribe button. Next, I'll start fitting the components to the chassis base, front and rear, and also the body clips. And note the orientation. The flat section faces forward, and everything will be secured with M2x4 KB screws. I'll be using 10. body clips slot nicely into place. Note the orientation, and they're secured in place by the M2x4 KBs. For the next stage, I'll secure the drive shaft in place. That'll be using 4 M1.2x4 PBs. The bearings fit into the housings and is rotating very freely. I fitted the housings for the central shaft with the 1.2x4 PBs, tightened it down, and it's rotating freely. This part A2 will hold the steering assembly. It's available in aluminium also, but I'm just using the kit part for now. It's held in place with 2 M2x4 KB screws. Next step, fitting the ball diffs. For this we'll use the larger of the bearings, the 6x10x2.5s. We use 4 of those. We'll also need 4 M2x4 PB screws and 4 6x8x0.2 shims, and also 2 3mm ball screws, and of course the ball diffs. The diff appears to be running smoothly at the moment. The clearance seems to be good. The kit comes with additional shims so that if the central shaft is too tight, additional shims can be added here. I'm attaching the diff covers with PB screws. Seems to be running smoothly. And just to attach the ball screws for the rear suspension arms. So next stage we've got 2 A13s, 2 universal shafts, 4 bearings, two M2x4 PM screws, and 2 of these ball screws. So first fit the bearings. Just a press fit. For the next step, we'll build the steering linkage. So here are the parts we need. These are the smaller of the ball cups. There's 3 sets. And these parts as well. One side will screw on clockwise, the side with the extra line, and the other side anti-clockwise. And 3 of the smaller ball joints, and also the smaller of these threaded bars. The side with the small extra marking is clockwise thread. And the other side threads counterclockwise. Finished dimension should be 23.8 millimeters. And here's the small one. Finished dimension on this should be about 15 millimeters. The toe angle is adjustable by making these either longer or shorter, and it's possible to adjust them while they're fitted to the car. I'm fitting the 3 small ball screws to this part. Note the part with the extra marking is on the outer side. Now fit the bearings. I'm going to finish this video up here. Thanks for watching. In the next video, we'll finish building this model and try the other body also. I'll put another video up here and another one here, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button.